I'm Father Mark Mary.
And I'm Father John Anthony.
We are the Franciscan Friars of the Renewal, and this is Ascension Presents. Father John Anthony's with us to talk about why pray the Rosary. Father John Anthony.
Well, firstly today I'd like to do a little bit of myth busting and then show one of the greatest power tools that we guys and women as well can have in the church, right? There's been 90 or more letters written about the Rosary by popes. Our Lady in every one of her major apparitions says, hey, take out your Rosary and pray. It's your best weapon in these days, especially these days. St. Padre Pio called it his weapon. He said, hey, give me my weapon. And the brothers would bring out his Rosary. I've got a Rosary right here that's made out of gunmetal, in fact. It's marvelous. Why is it so powerful? The myth is that it's somehow a mindless repetition. That's a thing for little old blue-haired ladies and nothing more. And that's a myth. It's a weapon because it gives us direct access to the power of Jesus Christ for us, for you, in your day today. Well, there's a few things that we need to keep in mind. One, Jesus, as we all know, and we've heard a million times, almost to ad nauseum, if only one person sinned, he would have died for that one person. And that's a fact. That's part of our faith. Jesus in his divinity also can keep you in mind, and does, as if you were the only person that ever existed. Not only that, every moment of every day of every bit of your life, he has in focus equally. Every moment of your life, he has in equal focus. That's an amazing concept to think about. The Jewish rabbis would say that to God, one soul is an entire universe unto itself. Now, holding on to that thought, which is kind of big, then we think of Jesus, who as a man lived outside of time, but as a man and God. That means that every moment of his life when he was on this planet, he had you in mind. Not just generally, but every moment of your life in mind. That means that every moment of your life, he's thinking, I'm doing this for Susie. I'm doing this for Jim. I'm doing this for Jim today, in the day that he wants to strangle his boss. You know, and I got graces for him, right? It's an amazing concept to hold on to. And that's why the Rosary is so powerful. It's a weapon that we can take into any situation and recognize that Jesus, from across 2,000 years, outside of time at the same time, wants to catch my eye and give me the graces I need for the situation I am in now. When I take the Rosary in hand and I begin to pray and meditate and I focus on that event of 2,000 years ago, I catch Jesus' eye, or rather, he catches mine and communicates exactly what I need in my day today. And tomorrow, my day is going to be different. I can pray the same mystery, but it's a different set of graces that I'm getting because tomorrow is a different day for me. The situation for tomorrow is different. How powerful is that? So that's why the Rosary, I think, in many ways, is so efficacious. It's why it's been talked about so much by Our Lady. It's why it's the tool and the weapon of this day and age. So Our Lady in all of our major apparitions is inviting us and begging us, in fact, to take up the Rosary every day and fight. And in some of her mysteries, she says, take up the Rosary 3 times a day. Do 3 Rosaries. St. Padre Pio did, I think, 15 full Rosaries. That means 15 sets of 3 sets of mysteries. I mean, amazing. He did a lot of things at the same time. But I'll give you an example of a man I know who took up that challenge. And many of you may know the name Carlos Slim, one of the wealthiest men in the world, runs neck and neck with Bill Gates all the time. Who's the most wealthy? His son, who runs all his business, his name is Patricio Slim. And I had lunch with him one day at an event, and we were talking about this challenge that Our Lady gave to pray 3 rosaries in a day, go to Mass every day, do Lectio Divina every day. And he's like, I'm Patricio Slim. I have very little time. How am I going to do 3 rosaries in a day? That's 45 minutes. I don't get it. And so, but then he told me something very interesting. He said, I decided to take Our Lady up on her challenge. She never lies. So he started building up to 3 rosaries a day. And he says, you know, what happens is when I take this weapon in hand and I start to pray those 3 rosaries a day, and I space it out throughout the day, you know, 1 decade here, 1 decade there, each decade's maybe 3 minutes. You can spread it out through the entire day. I find that Our Lady goes ahead of me and cuts out all the interference that I would normally have. So the devil's trying to give us interference all the time. miscommunication between people, all sorts of different kinds of things he brings up. But when we pray the 3 rosaries a day, when we catch the eye of Jesus in those mysteries, him giving us the graces that he won for us today, this day, through the rosary, then it's like Our Lady goes through and hacks away all that interference. And Patricio said something really fascinating. He said, you know, at the end of the day, when I pray the 3 rosaries, I find I have extra time. I can read a book that I want to read. I haven't been frustrated all day because everything's been going against me all day long. And even if it has been, I'm at peace. He says, I can honestly say that if I don't pray the 3 rosaries a day, or I can honestly say this, that I don't have time not to pray 3 rosaries a day. That's an amazing claim from one of the wealthiest men in the world, who's got to be one of the busiest guys on the planet and a great Catholic.
Personally, your own experience with the rosary, I don't know, why do you preach on it so strongly? Why do you feel so passionately about the rosary?
As a convert to Catholicism, I met Catholics who knew their faith, and I was introduced to Our Lady through an apparition site in Medjugorje, supposed apparition site. And I was introduced to the rosary, and I remember and with knock knees praying my first rosary, going literally, Lord, I don't know if this is pleasing to you or not, but if it's not, don't strike me dead. But if it is, can you help me with this inextricable problem that I have? And I saw that problem just disappear like smoke before the wind, and I realized that the Lord, it was pleasing to him. So I began to take up the rosary at that time. And I can tell you, I've seen the power of the rosary through my life more and more and more and more.
Yeah, my brothers and sisters, this month, we're heading into a month dedicated to the rosary, October 7th.
October 7th.
Our Lady of the Rosary, which also, coincides with a big battle.
Battle of Lepanto.
And, and if there's a day that I guess we've always been in a big spiritual battle, but we're in a big spiritual battle again these days. And as Father John Anthony mentioned, the rosary is a weapon par excellence for the spiritual warfare that we're in. So my brothers and sisters, pick it up, pray that rosary, fight with us.
Get out there and fight.
Get in there. We thank you for watching. We'll see you again next week. Remember, somos peregrinos poco a poco, little by little. Vamos a llegar. We're going to make it. God bless y'all. Peace.